Welcome to Comfy Couch 2020, everybody.
Woohoo! Woo! Double 20, biatch.
We got this, baby. Anyway.
Hey, look! Oh, we got 2020 vision now. Hey! No one knows what that network is anymore.
Guess what? Now that joke is outdated.
Oh.
The fuck is this? Like my depression.
Woo!
Oh. Also, James Rolfe, you got great 2020 to play, baby.
He does. Anyway, I'm Random Hiri. Who are my other co-hosts?
I'm the local resident sea creature, aka Nessie D. And yeah, I'm just the local resident sea creature. Hello.
And the new member of the Comfy Couch cast.
Yes. We need more demographic. We need the women. We need the Loch Ness monsters because they're epic. Yes.
I still want my tree fitty back.
No, sorry, you're not getting it back.
God damn it, Loch Ness monster! And I am the Trenchman, and the rumors of my career's death are greatly true. But
Does that mean you wear a trench coat?
yes, but I'm not allowed to wear that black ones because that is way too edgy.
Oh god, I hate itchy giant coats. Also, I'm Shane. Hi, Shane.
And I'm CatBit. Everybody keeps calling me Bootleg Felix the Cat for some reason.
No, they don't. You're just saying that for some reason. You're just saying that for attention, you bitch.
Hey, leave dogs out of this.
Keep it clean, boys. Keep it clean.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry that I'm a little bitch, everyone.
I think we got a fun one today.
Yeah.
Oh,
I hope we do.
Yeah.
oh really?
So, you guys hear about that new Thundercats movie that ain't so good, apparently.
Oh! I've watched it already. I've watched it twice.
What's your thoughts on it? Do you remember?
I've watched it twice to give it a fair chance. Let's keep in mind, I pretended I know nothing about Thundercats. This is a new IP. I'm judged it as its own thing. And guess what?
You hate it?
It fucking sucks!
It was the biggest piece of rushed shit I've ever seen since, well, Justice League.
Yeah, it was mediocre.
And I don't even think that means that it was rushed as in they had to fix things. I think right off the bat it was rushed out.
Mm-hmm. I think the best way to describe it is...
like a year to make. Like, was this in production for almost a year? This was... I remember this was announced... I think in like early 2018, like this time 2 years ago, I think.
No, it's like early 2019 when this got announced, and it's like the thing is that's weird about this. It's like for some reason this just came out of nowhere. Like, when did anybody ask for a reboot to Thundercats again?
Investors, when they were afraid they were going to lose the rights to the franchise, or at least lose the rights to stream the
Ego Raptor.
Ego Raptor, explain yourself, you cock.
Ted Turner was worried he'd lose his precious IP. I don't know.
Where can I buy more yachts?
Mm-hmm. I think the best way to describe it is this. They hire people who aren't qualified for the job.
I mean, honestly, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of agree with that.
Like, artistically, there's so much wrong with it. Like, it's like they don't know how to work on an animation production. Like, if you look at it, like, as, like, a freeze frame, they could work as comics, but as animation, it doesn't work. It just falls, like, flat on its face.
Yeah, this is why I don't really believe in the theory of, oh, if you're in a higher position, you should hire your friends. Like, I'm sorry, I think that this is kind of what happened. Where, like, people, yes, people had a lot of connections, but, like, this is what happens when you have all the connections, but you don't really have, like, the work ethic behind it. It's like an opposite of Oreos. Yeah.
The worst case scenario, that's like, I'm starting to feel bad about us, making fun of Steven Universe and OKKO for how sloppy the animation is.
Here's the thing with Steven Universe, OKKO, even Teen Titans Go, they know how to stage.
Yes. Yeah. They know when to pace things. Maybe not so much Teen Titans Go, but they know when to be loud and when to be quiet. this Thundercats doesn't really have that, and it almost felt like I was watching candy, if that makes any sense. Like, yes, it looks good and it's really colorful and bright, but it's, you know, it's not something that has that all. I mean, it does have a story to an extent, but it's kind of just taking what was already established and it's less of that and more. Hey, yo, look, it's all these crazy tiny characters.
Because
basically like a bag of jelly beans, like the exotic ones. You'll find some good ones, but then you find some like, what is this?
The black stuff that nobody like.
No, the pomegranate freaking jelly bean. I've said this before, but that exists and it tastes like butt. Oof. Moving on.
Mm-hmm. But the black jelly beans make up 13% of the population's bag.
Ugh.
If I can compare this show to anything, I honestly want to say the Powerpuff Girls reboot because it's falling into a lot of the same. I'm calling it a nostalgia trap because it doesn't know what it wants to do. It doesn't know if it wants to be its own brand new thing or if it wants to cater into the nostalgia factor. But the problem is, it's trying to do both, and it's succeeding with neither. Mm-hmm. Am I making sense with that?
I get where you're coming from.
Because, like, and also, I would rather watch Thundercats than Powerpuff Girls because at least Thundercats has some pretty good color schemes instead of, like, this bleeds my eyes, color schemes like Powerpuff Girls.
Well, with, like, the Thundercats, like, roar, they don't know, like, how to, like, stage a character. Like, there's lots of shots where it's just super close-ups on their faces just so they can avoid drawing backgrounds and also doing poses.
Yeah, where they're like, making emoji faces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing, and this is, like, something I saw Toys R Us do in the United States before they shut down. It's like, why not sell the old merchandise to people who grew up with these things? I mean, like, Nickelodeon's banking off of nostalgia by making toys off of their old properties, and hell, like, I remember back in 2017, like, Toys R Us was, like, had, like, this 80s nostalgia bin where, like, they were selling, like, these giant Thundercats figures, and, like, my folks were just, like, really excited seeing this.
I think I saw that.
Well,
Turtles.
They're selling them now at, like, GameStop, so anyone that loves Thundercats, you can go waste your money on all that stuff, where they're in the style of the He-Man figures.
Yeah, it's like, why waste money on a reboot that you know everyone's gonna hate, and just like market it, by selling these toys, to people's nostalgia.
Well, because it's just there to keep the rights. It's like what I'm sorry for interrupting, Nessie.
Yeah.
But it's like what Universal did with their rights to Doom. They created the Doom Annihilation movie. That was a better adaptation, but it was not made for an adaptation's sake. It was made so Universal could retain their rights, and that is what Thundercats Roar is. It is a rights grab because they were afraid they would lose it, and that's something that they can't afford to do.
Or like Sony with Spider-Man, where it's like they'll keep making all these Spider-Man movies because it's like, if we don't, we'll lose the rights to Spider.
I was thinking,
just give it back to Disney.
Hey,
it's like, who fucking cares?
Guys, Nessie's trying to talk.
Alright. Getting back to the whole merch thing, my theory is that, what was my theory? I remember when The Lion King came out last summer, and, everyone was saying, oh, it's another cash grab, but I was noticing that they were putting out a lot of original Lion King merchandise. Like there were T-shirts and trays and stuff that you used to find in the Disney store. Like they were bringing it out, but they were only bringing it out for as long as the movie was relevant. And now that it's gone, it's like Lion King. What? That movie came out 20-some years ago. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And I love how seeing the comparisons where it's like you'll see cartoon Simba next to realistic Simba. It's like,
yeah,
I'm gonna get cartoon Simba, not this other crap.
Yeah,
I'd say it's for me at least, it's I don't know how to say it. It's this is kind of what happens when you allow people who are narcissistic about their mediocre artwork into making a cartoon because.
Well, the guy would see mediocre.
Especially if you give it to a guy that looks like he owns 2 tote bags and a yoga mat that he looks like he doesn't use.
or a guy whose hairstyle looks like the freaking Dawkins from Oddworld.
No. You want to know what the showrunner of Thundercats Roar looks like?
What?
What?
He looks like what the boomers think millennials look like.
You gotta be fucking kidding me!
In front of them.
That's so fucking true.
Yes,
If so, then I have this to say. Boomers, if we sacrifice Victor Cartwright to you, can you please shut up about us? Please, you could get rid of who I think is like the millennial zombie type, whatever, the origin zombie. You do what you need to him. Someone like Ian Jones,
The hell you
everyone will be
talking about?
happy.
Actually, I have a full explanation on why this show looks like why it is.
Why is that?
Okay, so here's the thing. This Thundercats reboot, it was planned. They wanted to do this. I think the show was going to be its own different thing. It was not going to look like how it was. And then here's the thing from like an inside source who works in like the industry. Warner Brothers was actually pushing this style because it's what's trending. That's the why it looks like as it is.
Cal Arts, forgive us. It's not your fault this time.
Mm-hmm.
That's, okay, I'm sorry. That's my one beef. It is not Cal Art style. It is SVA. Okay? If you're going to make fun of it, at least to your readers.
SVA style, we
Yes,
really
SVA
fucking hate
style.
that.
Also,
Yes.
SVA style.
Stop using that term because the guy who made it was John Case and never used something that was made from him, you dumb fucks.
You're right. But
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
All right,
Also,
disregard
it's
my
like-
last statement.
listen,
I also feel like, listen, just because it's like that RC Darts guy. It's like, yeah, he was at CalArts, but like he probably was his own fault that his art kind of got crappy, not the college, you know.
mm-hmm.
Because there were stuff that were from CalArts that were really good, like talented people like Iron Giant, LT Gray, SpongeBob, and stuff. So it's just like, if you're trying to disgrace on CalArts, you're basically disgracing on other good
Yeah.
stuff. You can't act like it's bad all the time because,
Exactly.
I think my biggest fear, and it doesn't have anything really to do with the show itself, it's more so the kids who are going to watch this and they're going to want to emulate that style. And
Exactly.
my
But
biggest fear is that if it's as popular as say Teen Titans Go, or something that's really really marketable and everybody knows what it is. My biggest fear is that more people are going to try and emulate it, and that we're going to see more of stuff like that. And that's
I get the
yeah,
feeling,
I've
but at the
seen that a
same
lot.
time, I also
Oh,
feel
go ahead.
like maybe, hopefully, because like these are still like new, like young kids now, and there's still some other shows. So it's
Yeah,
like
it's like-
hopefully this show will not inspire that many people, because you got like other shows too.
I mean,
that
it's
are
like
like-
you have. I mean, look what Warner Brothers is doing with Netflix with Green Eggs and Ham. Or like, here's a good example, and like this is what I discovered about Thundercats Roar. A lot of people worked on it or putting it under previous work. So, if possible, I'm pretty sure the show got canceled behind the scenes, and like Cartoon Network's
I
just
guarantee
dumping
it
the.
did.
Like Cartoon Network's just dumping the episodes on their channel just to get it over with.
Keep in mind, we're also in a new generation, so there's probably going to be like a new style trend. Like back in the 80s, it was this macho like He-Man style, and then in the 90s,
Yeah.
Where everybody looks like
It
an
was-
Olympic athlete.
it was like
it was that pseudo homoerotic masculine.
Even fat people were buff. What the fuck?
yeah, 90s was like this like more like
80s.
golden age like look, and then like the 2000s was like a UPA like boom, and now this one's kind of like, I guess like bean face thing. Keep in mind,
Elvis
like
face.
that thing's gonna die like this generation, and I think Thundercats is what's gonna kill it.
Yeah, I think it's just like the nail in the coffin. Like, okay, we realize that we're not going to do this anymore. I even think Steven Universe is trying not to do that, because I've been seeing like screenshots of Steven Universe Future, and I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, this actually looks pretty good.
Yeah,
This
I've been
looks
watching-
ass.
I've been watching a lot of it, and so far, what I've seen, I feel like visually, a lot of the problems that people were complaining about, they are nowhere near as prevalent in this show. They are nowhere near as prevalent.
And here's the thing: it's like
they fixed the off-model stuff. Like it's no longer looks really bad.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, because like that's the one problem I have with that show. Like here's the thing: I don't care if characters are off-model as long as it looks nice, like Looney Tunes or Ren and Stimpy.
oh
But
yeah,
with that show, it just looked like horribly made doodles that you would draw in high school. Like characters' heads are too big. Like some anatomy looks off. Like it doesn't look like they didn't put any effort.
You want to know what I could say about this with the whole 2020s art style trend? I'm pretty sure like everyone's gonna want to copy Cuphead or like what they're doing with. I'm pretty sure like Looney Tunes and like Cuphead is gonna be like the trend for the 2020s, just because like
I mean, I hope.
from what I'm seeing with like animation, like we're seeing more and more cartoons trying to like replicate that like the golden age of animation again.
Yeah,
I
I look forward to that. So.
Do you know what I hope for 2020s? Like as like the art style.
Yeah.
What?
Actually, I think it's gonna be a decade where like we're gonna have varying different styles because like there's so much like different animation coming out and people are knowledgeable of what they like and how.
True.
So I feel like we're gonna have like different varieties thanks to like Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My other theory is that a lot more stuff internationally is going to get more attention. Just because again we have the internet, we have streaming services. A lot of stuff from like Cartoon Saloon, for example. I really hope that in 10 years, if I tell someone, hey, do you know of The Secret of Kells or Song of the Sea, and I hope that people at least have some idea of that.
Plus Netflix, they're making a lot better things like She-Ra, and they're even rebooting Transformers with them, like for adult and for young and old audiences with their Siege cartoon, which will come out soon, and they're rebooting He-Man for kids and continuing the old one for everyone's getting everything, and so many other original cartoons are coming from there as well as from what you were saying, like Song of the Sea. People are now having access to all these things.
Yes.
Also, Motherfuckers.
Motherfuckers. We're getting a new show from Jorge Gutierrez. We're getting a new one from Craig McCracken.
Oh my god, the 2020s is going to be an excellent year for animation.
I hope so.
Well, let's hope we live. I mean,
So far, we got lots of things to be.
Harmon's just like, hey guys, I got a cartoon. Like, get out of here, get out of here, go.
Jesus.
Bad Butch
who loves to party.
Bad Butch Harmon.
I sure can't wait for Oaxis, guys, huh? I sure can't wait to see wholesome Christian family values on Oaxis.
I don't trust Butch Harmon as a Christian. He'd be like one of those shady ones.
Mm-hmm.
His first name actually isn't Butch. It's actually his born again name. His
it's
real
shady.
name? Actually, no. It's Elmer.
Didn't I tell you that?
Somebody did.
Yeah,
But
I did. Good old Elmer Hartman.
Childhood.
Oh god, I get the feeling that the reason why he called himself Butch is for his narcissism. Like, if you called yourself Butch, you're a dick.
Yeah.
You know how he has his like self-insert Dr. Rip Studwell,
Yeah.
and then he rips on his past self. He's like, "That's the old Butch. That's why he created Elmer."
Lol.
Oh my god.
That was the old me, sadly.
But now look at me. I'm a total Chad.
Speaking of cartoons, like I've been wanting to ask, like, what are the shows you guys have been watching recently?
Well, I've definitely been watching Steven Universe. Unfortunately, that's really been it in terms of things that are new. I've mostly been working on commissions, mostly, so that's kind of where all my time has been going to. So.
I've been watching American Dad on Hulu because there's nothing really on, and I haven't really watched TV because Rick and Morty isn't on yet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thanks to like Canadian laws, just like forcing down like varying quality of TV shows. Like I've been binge watching like 2 shows I've been wanting to watch on Netflix: BoJack Horseman and F is for Family.
I haven't watched F is for Family in a while. I remember it being kind of weirded out by the second season, but the third season looks funny.
No, Episode for Family is really good. It's like the thing is, like, assuming you've had like a traumatic childhood, like an abusive family or anything, I don't recommend you watch the show just because like there's a lot of screaming.
To be fair, Frank
Frank Movie's got a fucking job, and it's just like, goddamn, just that!
Also, to be fair, that one teenage kid, he's kind of a dick, so he kind of deserves the screaming.
It was like, he's such a tryhard. We all know a guy like his son. Yeah, we all knew a guy be like, I'm gonna be fucking banned, you're a bunch of narcs.
Listen, dude, just because you listen to KMFDM once, like, doesn't mean you have to be a dick.
This kid's the reason birth control exists.
He goes to Hot Topic Daily.
Mm-hmm.
No, this
Back
was
when
the
it looked like
70s.
Belong in a Nightmare Before Christmas set.
God, can you imagine if, like, Hot Topic existed in the 70s?
Oh god, Kevin would be all over that crap.
The hippies would be the...
I know Spencer's actually used to be like a really big hippie shop, and then when hippies weren't like that popular anymore, they started getting edgier and edgier, and now that's why they are the way that they are.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about how Spencer's is the dirtiest, nastiest store ever.
Oh, you can go ahead.
It feels like going into a fever dream, honestly. It just looks like ass, and I don't like it.
It feels like I'm entering a hybrid of like Hot Topic and Cool World at the same time.
Also,
only you don't want to fuck anything in Hot Topic.
Got me there.
You know the weird thing about...
Yeah, I'm totally wearing pants. Yeah.
You know the only thing I remember about Spencer's, though?
What?
Was, like, at the age of 10, like, I bought, like, a shitload of Angry Bird plushies over there back when I visited Florida at Spencer's.
Lol.
I got them at Toys R Us.
I got 2 from like a claw machine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did too. I remember one time when I was a kid, I was gonna get the Bluebird, and I finally got one, and I was really happy.
I like the classic red one. I have it somewhere. I just don't know where I put it, but
The
it's
yellow
around.
one, yellow one was my favorite because he looked cool. He was a triangle.
Yeah, I like the yellow one too.
I like the big red bird. He's
Oh,
fun.
Terrence. He's funny.
Oh, they got names?
Yeah,
Really?
the
They got
red one's
names now?
Red, the yellow one's Chuck,
They can fly now? They fly now?
and also the red one's Terrence.
They have...
If you think I'm a nerd for knowing this, well, I am.
Listen,
Sorry.
like, I thought, like...
It's okay.
I'm more, like weirded out knowing that they have names other than when, like, the Angry Birds movie came out and they gave them limbs.
You know, I remember at first I was like, why do they got limbs? But then I was like, I like the way they look. They look very expressive. And
I mean, they made
I'm
them
okay
work with limbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Hollywood, not everything super goofy and cartoony is bad. Just a lot of the things that didn't need to be goofy and cartoony!
Okay.
Back to Thundercats Roar.
No. I just mean in general. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We're done
we
with
just-
Thundercats.
Do you know how I describe Hot Topic nowadays?
What,
Hot
man?
Topic is just the pop figure store now.
Yeah.
No, basically.
Yeah.
Also
I'm
GameStop,
the
too.
I'm the most disappointed in Hot Topic because they used to be like I remember back in like 05, 06, like that was the place that you went if you wanted to like look like Avril Lavigne with like all the chains and the spikes and all that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember I wanted for years a set of trip pants. And then by the time that I was old enough and I was making a little bit of money, you know, working jobs, I guess they must have ended their contract, but the people who make them trip, they stopped selling them there. And that was such a huge disappointment. I'm like, no, I'll never be that edgy persona I always wanted to be now because they don't sell those pants anymore.
You never look at Bowser.
No, I'm talking like the really, really baggy ones with like all the unnecessary chains and belts and like all that.
You
know
also
what I mean?
don't see your feet.
Yeah, exactly.
Nowadays,
Oh,
just
that makes it sound like
either
somebody's shops
some
there.
toys,
Shut up,
keychains, and now
Pam.
like Solon fan art.
What's that?
Like most of the time, like whenever I see Hot Topic, they always have like pop figures, keychains.
Yeah.
Suicidal vampire
But
kid.
Also, they'll also have like stolen fan art.
One of my
Yeah,
friends got their
honestly-
fan art stolen as his shirt.
Honestly, Hot Topic just feels it feels like it feels like GameStop for women.
True. Also, you know what's weird is I was at an Apple store and well, I had two. One of them was like it was completely dead silent, it was really creepy, and two,
Ooh.
one of them had like unnecessary pop figures and toys. Like, why is this right here? It's weird.
Do you know what I hate about like the
Yeah.
overabundance of pop figures?
What's that?
They should only be sold at like certain stores and not every store because it's horrible for the environment too. Because it's going to be a landfill, and all that burning plastic's not going to like do good.
Yeah.
It doesn't
yeah.
help that like the animals are gonna suffocate things if they try to swallow those plastic things.
There shouldn't be an overabundance of them, and only certain things should get them. Like, have you seen the Lion King like 2019 pops?
I want to see.
They look disgusting, and guess what? No one would want like 2019 Lion King pops.
I know. I saw the one for Pumbaa, and I'm like, look at how they massacred my boy.
Can
What
I
did
see
they do to him?
this? This is gonna look interesting.
I
It's
will
just
pull
it's
it up
so
in a minute.
weird though. It's like I'm questioning like if pop figures are just like a trend that's gonna die out in this decade.
Oh, it'll never die.
Oh god, so it's.
I
not
mean,
like
there's
we
like
need
God.
very like
Also-
devoted like collectors of them, so I don't think they're gonna go away anytime soon.
I don't like the way Pumbaa is very skinny. He looks like he hasn't ate in forever.
They fucking twinked him.
Also, Captain, put up on screen so people can see.
I'm kind of I'm phasing that out.
Also, fucking, what's up with the lion's eyes? They look weird. Like, they look like freaking aliens.
Yeah, a lot of them look really terrifying. Like, I would not want these as toys. Like, maybe Timon, but like that's about it.
Yeah, like this is like something like kids wouldn't want.
No, this
Yeah.
is like the kind of
God help us for the Lilo and Stitch remake. God help us all with how they're.
Oh.
This is
Oh,
the kind of
no.
figures that would like you would have, but like you feel really creeped out by them. So whenever you're going to sleep, you turn them around because even though they're not real, they still stare
I
at you
feel-
as you sleep.
I feel like in like 20 years, if like horror becomes the new popular thing, and like horror and nostalgia, I feel like they're gonna use these for like some sort of scare, for like some kind of jump scare or something.
Nessie, you just gave me the
What?
biggest grin on my face because this is gonna be fucking fantastic if something like that happens because
Oh,
you already know how much of a horror fanatic I am.
Yeah, definitely.
And having like
You said
really
horror.
cool merch, like I love horror merch so much.
Yeah.
Like I have a whole collection full of them.
Did I just convince you to buy these Funko Pops now?
No, you didn't.
Oh.
You just gave me like ideas.
No offense, I refuse to buy that cancer. I'd rather collect a doll that can move, light up, do stuff. I would even take a wind-up doll over Pop Funkos, and I have a couple of them.
No,
Some
like
I don't-
I'm just thinking about like not like pop vinyl like horror icons. I meant like just a huge boom of like horror like merch from different vendors.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I have a question.
What?
If you made your own series, would you allow Funko to make pop figures of your characters?
Honestly, sure.
Nowadays.
Again, it's like as long as there's merchandise on my stuff, it means that I actually created something. So I don't mind.
Yeah,
'cause,
it's
like,
something tangible. So
Yeah.
me personally, like, I mean, I may not be the biggest fan, but it's like, I'll have a fan who's like, I like these. Like, you know what? I'll make one because I like you a lot. And I'll let
That
that
and
fool you.
like here's the thing, Shane. It's like with your characters, the Shanes, like they would work really well as Funko Pops.
yeah.
Maybe. But you know what character I always thought would look really funny as a pop figure was my one character, Alan. I remember.
I think
had this
Alan's your most
conversation
well designed character.
Oh, thank you. But like, I think he would look really weird as a pop figure because, like, well, post up on screen what he looks like. But like the way his eyes are, they're basically on top of his head. So it's like if they made a pop figure of him, they would look like big giant marbles on top of his head. It would look kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they'd be like glowing yellow. It's like, ugh. Do you know what? I don't mind.
You know what I've
Is
been
it
doing a
weird
lot
to
of?
say that, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You know what I've been doing a lot of like 2020 not watching stuff. Actually, I've been reading a lot.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, what have you been reading recently?
So recently, I have a book called Sick Little Monkeys. It's basically a book about the
Oh,
entire
yeah.
production of Ren and Stimpy.
And it's also even shows even more how much of a d-bag John K.
Oh yeah, like in the prologue, they describe like, oh yeah, John K. didn't want to like interview me. Actually, can I read like an email that he sent the author?
Yes, please go right ahead.
Did it involve something with being sodomized by a rake?
Oh,
Kind of close. All right. Let me open up to the page. Like this is. Keep in mind, this book came out a year before like the whole like allegations. Actually, I wouldn't call them allegations. I call them facts.
Yeah.
And as we know about facts, they don't care about pedophiles' opinions or feelings. Right, Onision?
Yeah, Onision. All right, here's this email. So this was dated in 2009. So John writes to the author, "It's not healthy for you to be obsessed over someone who you've never even met, or to harass girls who never even done anything to you. You're going to end up in a mental hospital, or worse, if you don't see a shrink. All you crazy deeds are on record and are adding up. I'm sure people like Bob are not going to like it when they find out that you're using them to stir up your own trouble."
John.
Why did you bring up girls getting stalked, John?
Even the author was like, I don't know why John brought that up.
Oh, that's a Freudian.
John stopped to realize,
I
oh,
ever heard.
fuck.
What's
That's
what's that one thing that he was Robin Williams' cigarette word?
Yeah, he called them the British cigarette word.
oh.
Yeah, like,
bet he was
like
like-
Robin Williams was like a big fan of like Ren and Stimpy, and he wanted to be a guest star on like on the show, but like John K just called him the F word, and well,
It's like, you, Robin Williams, I hate you, Robin Williams. I hated Bicentennial Man.
I thought that was fucking horrible.
Man, how could you hate Robin Williams though?
That's the thing.
do to you.
You know what's my little theory? I imagine that like he really wanted to animate for the genie, but they didn't really want him to.
Well, John K.
He's just
hates
like-
Disney, so I don't think he wanted to like animate the genie.
Yeah.
I hate Disney.
Yeah, well, that's exactly.
I'm John K.
I imagine he was like,
Yeah.
I actually do want to animate for Genie. Please let me animate. And you're like, no. And
No,
then he's
you
like,
creep.
you motherfucker, God, fuck, damn, fuck all of you. And he's like, fuck you, Eric Goldberg. So like, he grew in a hatred for the Genie, and then like he started to grow a hatred for Robin Williams, even though he didn't really do nothing wrong. He just did the voice, but he's just like, that motherfucker voicing that goddamn fucking character I was gonna voice. Piece of shit.
Fuck you, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Fuck you, Teddy
Also,
Roosevelt.
here's my criticism of John K.
Yeah.
Here's my little criticism of John K. For a guy who shat on Ren and Stimpy during the game's animation era, he's kind of a hypocrite because of the fact that his art style has gotten worse and worse over the decades.
It really has.
Yeah.
It really has.
He like over animates and under animates at the same time.
That's how I describe Cans Without Labels.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, cans about labels.
He animates faces and he doesn't do character acting. Like, there's no like movement in like the body, and yet the faces is all over the place in places where it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It feels like someone is having a seizure in his cartoons.
And also, like, he would like abuse his staff, and yet he makes so many mistakes.
Yeah,
It
it's
just
like
makes you question like why he has such a huge ego for himself.
it's because like every artist who has an ego, like people who have that stay away because like they always think they're like the best thing ever, but they're really not. Like people with egos, especially artists, don't know what they're doing with their lives and they're idiots. Like think about
Right, Onision?
who cares about Nissan?
They have these glasses that basically blind them from any criticism because they feel like there's nothing wrong with them.
You know, it's the perfect example is every chef on, well, not every chef, but on Kitchen Nightmares. Like, seeing that show, it's like, it's just so funny seeing, like, these ignorant chefs who are like, I'm a great chef, I'm so much better than Gordon Ramsay, and the food looks like ass. And he's like, no, the food is great, screw you, I love the food. And then, the best example is the Amy chick.
It's so weird though. Like people who have have so much hatred for themselves. Like for some reason, like end up making good stuff, but yet like people are like so full of themselves. Like they make some of the worst things imaginable.
Also, the author for like the book was like, oh, like I'm disappointed I couldn't get John Kay, but trust me, like I read his blog. You can find he's very open about everything, so I didn't have to do like any. I didn't have to like look him up or anything.
Usually when people are that cocky and overconfident, it's usually a big sign that they're actually very insecure about themselves.
Yes.
It shows that John Kay has like daddy issues.
Yeah.
Is it strange to assume that like with John Kay, it's like he's like the Chris Chan of the animation industry?
I mean, nah, not really. That's kind of stretching it.
Yeah.
No, he's the Onision.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a much better comparison.
Now you just see like Tom just like cover himself in kombucha, his baby carrot hanging out.
No, he's just gonna like dump like 40-year-old like Count Chocula and also Huckleberry Hound candy bars all over himself.
You did this to me.
John Kay is basically the Schmorky of older cartoons.
True,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Like it's so strange to me. It's like Nickelodeon would allow someone like him to make a cartoon, but then again, like during their early days, like they were probably just really desperate to allow anybody to make cartoons.
No, it wasn't that because like they didn't know what he was truly like. They just saw like from his work, and they just saw like good stuff in his work.
This is the same channel that allowed Doug to exist.
Yeah,
Well-
so.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. People
Yeah.
could like Doug. Like
Dum Dum.
I think Doug's like not the most interesting show, but they wanted to like promote
It's no
like creator-driven
Space,
shows.
but it worked.
Yeah, it's wholesome, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Doug
it
is a
doesn't feel
little
like
piece of shit, though.
But it's not Nickelodeon.
No Lloyd in space.
I do agree. Lloyd in Space is the better of the two, but Doug's not bad.
I've never seen it. I just know that Patrick Star was a fat alien.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Mm-hmm. So like
Personally,
at the
I
time,
prefer-
I can't blame Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
what
it was
about
in its
now,
early
though?
days. It didn't have like a huge footing and everything, but
Yeah.
nowadays Nickelodeon has made a comeback with their nostalgia trip stuff that made like let's say Random his head nearly blow off when they first released the Invader Zim movie.
But there's a thing though. It's like Nickelodeon's still treating their shows like absolute garbage just because they ain't SpongeBob.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look what they're doing to Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
It's just like, you can't, it's like no matter what, even when they're like people with ADHD, it's like they think like, whoa, we're gonna treat this really well and stuff. And it's like, nah.
And they don't.
No, it's
Yeah,
it's like that one friend who's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make an indie game," and then once like they're like a couple like months in, they get like tired of it and like, "All right, I'm abandoning
They're
this."
just like, I'm bored. I'm
Then they
bored,
go to
kill
the
the project. Well, that's so funny that this is basically what Nickelodeon is nowadays. Like the only saving grace for any new Nicktoon is like Netflix now.
No, honestly, yeah.
Netflix is doing so well. I bet you they could actually continue My Life as a Teenage Robot, but they won't.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I would see that.
They
I would
should.
definitely see that.
Like again, I think I pitched this idea a long time ago. It was like, have it be a years later thing. Have like Jenny and Brad be together. Have a kid. Just like have it be like them in this like. It's like, oh no, this isn't about us. It's about our lives. And it's just like, really, and just be like. Plus, it allows the audience to go like, fuck, we got old.
My life as a mid-30s robot.
Oh
I
no.
want to
And she can like go back and forth from teenager again whenever she wants.
Nah,
That's
that'd be
kind
weird.
of creepy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah, that's not.
It's creepy, Jenny.
I want to
Teenager
see.
anymore, even though you could actually physically do that. That's still not right.
I
I
want to
guess
see
we
like
can.
a comeback of Cat Scratch on Netflix.
Honestly,
Oh, yeah.
I think so too. I would love like Cat Scratch to get like
Yeah.
new treatment.
Also allow the modifiers to actually exist.
Since the guy died, I don't know if I would want it now.
Modifiers? What?
Yeah. It was a Nicktoon that like had some really cool ideas.
Oh, I think I've seen that. It said that people only know because it's the Zone 10 video, or is that editor of Mr. Ender gets upset over or some shit?
Yeah, that's a sad thing. Like that it's known for because there's so much good to it. I would think
Yeah.
I would describe like if what's the best way to describe the show? It's like the Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack meets like I guess Mighty B.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It had the voice of Freakazoid as Nosferatu or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name, but like I did love like his design. I love the designs of all the characters.
That classic 60s mod look. Look, I'm going to be honest with you here. The 60s was a fucking shit show, but there were good things to come out of it, such as classic like Andy Warhol style design and that Brit rock, that sort of like presentable, clean-cut but rebellious version of rock was coming out,
Yeah.
which is what the early Beatles were.
Yeah.
And that was a cool style. That's one of the rare cool styles to come out. And that's what it represented. It represented all the colors, all the bleak atmospheres, the clash of like all these sort of things. And it's a shame that modifiers did not get greenlit. It was just like ignored. And it's like that's what happens to a lot of shows. Like take Adventure Time. It was something different and challenging back then before it became the norm today. But it did not get a release. It did not get that on Nickelodeon. Boy, they feel stupid now, but still, Nickelodeon really does need to really listen to fan feedback on pilots, especially since we still don't have that show based on that short. I can't remember what it is. Some type of
is it
hero
the
show
one
where
about is it the one about the cop and his son?
yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah, the
Mission.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that shit.
Mm-hmm. Actually,
Yeah, that one
I
was
think
really
the modifiers would have worked if it came out a bit earlier than it did, or maybe a little bit farther in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is. Like, Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network need to reboot things just to keep the lights on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a sad part about the business is, well, sometimes the things they want to have work don't sell because, let's be honest, kids and sometimes teenagers, they don't care about cartoons. They care more about what a Let's Player is doing or whether or not Logan Paul gets arrested for filming a dead body. And I know that's a very, very, very negative thing to say, but it really shows where attention of the youth of today is going towards in terms of entertainment.
My theory is that, and it goes back into not just animation, but even with all the Disney live action things, kids, and it's a really sad thing to see, but kids want to be grown up. They don't care about being they don't care about being kids. All they see is, you know, all these people like Logan Paul and Markiplier and, you know, all these people, and they want to feel more grown up. And I feel that, at least with Disney, they figured that out, which is why they're making all these really hard, gritty, not necessarily adult, but definitely much more realistic-looking movies like this. And it's honestly a crying shame because adulting is awful. It's terrible. I don't know a single person who genuinely enjoys being an adult that you know doesn't have like their life planned out already. You know what I mean? Like,
well, to be fair, like kids have always wanted to be an adult. Doug Walker, cringe as he may be, said in his Saved by the Bell reviews, like, all you care about as a kid is getting to become a teenager, and then when as a teenager you want to care about being an adult, and then when you're an adult, all you want to be is a kid again.
yeah.
Life fucking sucks, in his words.
Mm-hmm. I actually know someone who definitely talks about wanting to be a kid again, and I'm just like, I don't want to be a kid again. Nah.
I don't want to be a kid again either, but I still want to enjoy the things that I did as a kid.
But like he keeps talking about like being a kid again. I'm like, I don't want you to regress into like that like adult kid thing because I know people like
it's like I am trans age.
I'm like, don't do that, please. I keep
Yeah,
saying,
that's a real
don't
thing.
do that. Stop.
There's a creepy guy who says he identifies as a 12-year-old girl. he's like this big, like 50-year-old man with like he's like a cartoon character that's like, my name is Tammy, and it's clearly a guy in drag. He hangs around this family that he adopted. He hangs around a family and their daughter as her sister. That's how fucked in the head he is.
Oh, I don't like
he's not going to do anything to her, but like that's still creepy in so many ways.
Yeah, that's... Oh, my God. I really don't want to think about it. Anyway, moving on. Do we have any other topics that we could talk about?
What games have you been playing recently?
I've been playing Skyrim, but I haven't touched that in a while. It's been a little bit. So.
I'm going back with like Resident Evil, since I'm a huge fan of the Resident Evil series. So I'm going through Resident Evil 2 Remake again, and I still love it to death. I got it on sale on Steam. I'm playing through Resident Evil, like the first one on the GameCube, for the 50th time. Because they're coming out with a remake for Resident Evil 3, and I'm so excited for that.
What about everybody else?
What about you,
What are
Shane?
you guys playing?
I've been playing Dead Space and Crysis a lot because I was a big fan of those franchises as a kid, and I regret not supporting the franchise until the bitter end, which makes me feel terrible because considering what happened to the studios behind both of them.
I remember being a big fan of Dead Space.
How long ago did that come out?
Dead Space
The
came
last
out
Dead
like
Space
around 2008.
Crysis, yeah, they were like in 2013, I think. Right when I graduated high school.
Oh, wow.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I guess I'm getting old then.
I'm old as fuck. Don't worry, I'm the oldest one here, so you can all make fun of me and my pain.
Hey, Shane. Shane? Oh, no.
Shane's on the farm now. He'll be happy.
Oh, no. I think he just transcended. Whatever.
He meditated Badger Clop style.
But anyway, there's a lot of good games coming out this year.
Yeah.
Especially in March. You got Resident Evil 3, you got
Doom.
Animal Crossing, you got Doom Eternal.
Oh yeah, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. They just announced that a couple of days ago, as of this podcast. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I know. I'm a filthy casual.
The only thing I don't like is that they got rid of the quiz.
Yeah, that was the best part about it. Like, I remember when I was 12 and I first played that game and it told me I was a Bulbasaur. And, like, that kind of stuck with me. Now, like, I have more respect for Bulbasaur because in that game, I was a Bulbasaur. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Also, can we talk about how his sprite animation is so cute?
Yeah. You know what else I love about it? The music. For a Nintendo DS, it actually sounds very distinct.
Oh, it sounds so good.
And I think a lot of it comes from Gaelic instruments, and I'm like, ooh, that's my jam. That's some good music.
My Shazam.
Yes.
I love that song. Oh, Shane, we were talking about like games you've been playing recently. What have you been playing?
Animal Crossing.
I love Animal Crossing so much. I'm so excited for the new one.
I got some fruit from my friend Jerry because I've been trying to get some fruit. I think the only thing I'm missing was apples because she gave me a perfect apple, but it hasn't grown. I mean, it has, but there's no apples on it, which sucks.
Oh man, that sucks. Like, I got every fruit in the game.
Can I borrow some fruit? I don't care about those. I just want some fruit.
The worst thing, I don't have perfect fruit.
I don't care. You know, honestly, perfect fruit kind of sucks because, like, I mean, it's good sometimes, but most of the time.
Because I feel bad when I can't deliver perfect fruit for one of my villagers who asked for one. Alright,
Nessie.
Yes, so recently I heard last night, if anyone listening, and this also goes for you guys who I'm talking to right now as well, I recently heard that there is going to be a Team Fabulous 2 reanimated. So, if you or anybody in here, or if you're listening, if you are interested, I'm sure there will be some details about it that somebody will provide either in the description or in a comment or something of that nature. But hurry up, because there are actually a lot of people who are very interested in working on this as well.
I think I should work on this thing.
Yes, please. I was almost going to tag you in the original tweet. But I was like, I don't know. Does Random like Team Fabulous?
Oh no, I watched this thing when it came out. I loved it.
How can you not like Team Fabulous 2?
Team Fabulous 2 is like the funniest thing ever, and like I feel like this is an amazing tribute to Colin.
Honestly, I'm not just saying this because you're here, but I think Team Fabulous 2 is probably the best ever Gmod video.
Oh yeah.
I feel like Team Fabulous 2 was like the originator of like the parody video.
Yeah, it was. I watched a lot of Gmod videos back in like the late 2000s because
Same
I
here.
had like a phase where I loved everything Valve.
Sorry, you guys are like warming my cold-blooded reptilian heart.
Wait,
right now.
does the audience really know anything like between like the backstory with like Team Fabulous?
I mean, again, Team Fabulous was, it was his project. I actually don't really know all that much about it. The only thing that he ever told, actually, interesting fun fact. If you guys remember when the engineer goes into Pandora's box and he sees the My Little Pony and he's like, "Would you like to play with me?"
Nope.
It didn't hit me until like long after it was released. He actually asked me if I wanted to like draw that pony for him. And I was like, yeah, sure, but I just forgot about it. I never did it, and it's honestly one of my biggest regrets. And I really wish
that kind of looks so funny in your style.
Oh man, and it was right as MLP was getting really popular too. I will say this much: if I remember correctly, Team Fabulous 2, not including the animated sequences, I think it was only about 8 months, maybe 9 or 10 months to fully complete. I don't totally remember offhand anymore, unfortunately, but it did take him a little while to work on it. But his main thing that he wanted to do was animation, so that's why all the sequences with Spunky and the Pandora's Box, he kind of wanted to start transitioning into working on animation. So
he would have been really good at it.
Oh, we wanted to be a power couple. I wanted to like design everything, and he was going to animate everything. And
nice.
Yeah.
I remember that me and some of my friends, but I have some friends who love that short, but like I get the feeling that now that I know you, they're probably going to be like, so you know the one person who knows her? Like, yeah. They're gonna pretend to be my friend just so they can use me for you.
Yeah,
I say the only good thing to come out of it is like Nessie. Remember this one server like you and Random were in a couple friend of mine's and like he was blown away when he told him who you were.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I do like doing that now, but it's been. It'll be 5 years it'll be 5 years and 2 weeks since he passed away. And I definitely, I don't want to say I moved on and that, no, like I still miss Colin like a lot, but if you guys would have seen me even 4 years ago, I would have been a complete and total train wreck even still. I definitely have moved on in the sense that, I don't feel sad about it anymore. If anything, I feel grateful because I got to be with him for the rest of his life, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I've moved on. I don't really bring him up as much anymore. I'll only bring him up for situations like this where I hear that someone's doing a collab project. Like people are always sending things like they're perfectly fine if you want to do them. Go nuts. It's whatever. I guess if you want to make something related to it, only one person. So
yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. There's a lot of cutting out right now. I think that's me.
What's
Is
that?
it okay to
Sorry.
What, Random?
Yeah, there's like a lot of cutting out. I think that's my connection. I'm sorry.
Oh.
But it only cut off like only a couple seconds of like some conversations.
So Nessie, if it's okay to ask, like if me and Anna or Randy or like someone weird and like draw tributes for Colin.
Yeah. In fact, the guy or the person who's running it, they messaged me saying that they're a little fan. I think they're gonna do like some kind of like little fan art thing at the end of it. I don't know much more than that, but he was like, yeah, if you want to contribute something, you're more than welcome. And I'm like, yes, why would I not? I only dated the guy, you know.
I think I want to help out. I want to do that one part with the grease monkey. Yeah.
I don't know what you guys are talking about, but
I swear to you, it's like Team Fabulous 2. I'm pretty sure, like, if it wasn't for it, I'm pretty sure it would have... God damn it.
Anyways, you were saying, CatBit?
Like I was saying, like, I'm pretty sure if it wasn't for Team Fabulous 2, I would have never, like, met any of you guys because, like, this one friend in particular, like, she's really big into Team Fortress 2, and I'm pretty sure, like, it's more than likely it's because, like, she must have been a huge fan of Colin's
Oh,
work.
no doubt. During those early days of Gmod, there were like two big names, and it was him and Daspo. And if you wanted a plot, you went to Kitty. If you didn't want a plot, you went to Daspo. And yeah, I think that's kind of where a lot of all of that came from, to be honest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I feel like I should like contact them saying, hey, is there a scene I can work on?
Of course. If anything, tell them I sent you, because I feel like if they do that, then you might get a little bit of a. I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. But
yeah. All right. Anyway, is this the end?
Yeah,
I guess we could say. I guess Colin, assuming you're listening to this wherever you are, we hope that we want you to know that we care for you.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I would have loved to have had you as a friend.
Yeah. Anyway, so long, farewell, advieders, and goodbye. No,
give me back my goddamn tree fitty, please.
no.
Hey guys, look what I got. I got this marble. It looks like a time bomb. Oops.
Goodbye, everyone. This is the Comfy Couch Cast 2020.
Have a good night. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, folks.
We're fucking dead.